Welcome to the channel. This is Geauxgreddy, and welcome to the end of another long journey as I finally get the last wins that I need for the 91 wins to match Michael Schumacher's record and get the Gran Turismo Sport Gold Trophy. So hang around, check out the action. Before we get to it, if you'd be so kind as hit the like and or subscribe, I would greatly appreciate it. All right, here we go. We are racing for win number 89 right here. I have chosen the Porsche 997. You can see my qualifying time there, 1:52.043. I set that, I think, on like Wednesday or so. So I've been pretty much racing the rest of the week with that qualifying time. Typically, it's P3 or higher to start the race, so that was good. So here we go, getting ready to start. I put it in traction control run, launch it, drop it back down to 0. Now what I'm going to do here, get over the radar and get to the right-hand side of the circuit, and I'm looking for the sign on the upper right-hand side of the board, and I'm going to brake and then look at my radar, and I'm just going to try and out-coast them through the corner without getting hit. So if you can get through turn 1 in the lead, your chances are good you can get the victory, because usually they'll murder each other behind you. So that is the goal, is to get through turn 1. And initially when I first started trying, I was going out wide there for corner 1, and then I was getting just slaughtered by whoever was in P2 or P3 before I could get through turn 1. So I decided to change my strategy there, and it seems to have worked. So many races I can typically get around that corner 1 without too much trouble. Now behind me we've got the Brazilian, we'll call Cap, because I'm not even going to try and pronounce that whole thing. So Cap is game for this race. I tell you what, this guy, I know Brazilians often get a bad reputation, but there are quite a few in the game that race very clean, and this gentleman was definitely one of them. So hats off to you, sir, for the clean race. It is much appreciated. I truly enjoy a clean race, even if I don't win it, much more than something where you're dirty and you're smashing into each other and you come away with the victory. So as we come through the final technical section of Fuji, he is right on my rear. So I'm trying to keep it narrow here, as I see he's trying to go even more narrow, which is odd for the 993, because usually it goes wide, and the 997s typically stay more narrow. So I go out wide here so I can get a really good run coming out of the last turn, as to try and get good speed coming down this straight. Hopefully put a little gap between me and P2. But man, that 993 just eats up the 997 come down the straight. As if we look over here at the time in the left-hand corner, I came out with like, what, 7/10 of a lead, and look at it, he's just chewing away at it. So I'm looking at that thinking, God, do I really feel like trying to block the inside? And then I brake at the wrong spot. Broke at the end of the first driveway instead of the end of the second driveway, which is my normal braking point. So let Cap through on the inside there. Good job by him. He goes a little wide. Unfortunately, I didn't take that corner too well. Even downshifted into first to try to get it to rotate. So I had a chance to probably get back underneath him, but failed to do so. Take turn 2 here pretty well. Carry about 83 miles an hour through that corner. You can get 85, 86 there if you hit it just right, but difficult corner. Try to stay tight here. Don't let it drift out too far. I'd like to keep it around 90 miles an hour at the apex. It's a double apex turn, but at the outermost part of the turn, be around 90. And as I come out, I'm a little wide, so that you can tell it makes him a little nervous. I'm going to try and, dive bomb the inside there as he goes a little hot into that corner. So that helped me out. I could stay right there in the slip of that 993. Another good section for this car is right through here. I'm going to brake before the Dunlop sign. Get all the way down in the first gear, use all the engine braking, slip it down the inside as he goes a little wide through the tight right-hander. I'm able to make the move, make the pass. Now, I noticed he had the propensity to want to go narrow, so I was just going to go slightly more narrow than him into this turn. So I was driving in my rearview mirror right there, heading towards the second to last turn. Again, I'm staying narrow because he had that propensity on lap 1 to go narrow there. So blocking him off there. Now, this is kind of hurting me because the 997, usually this is the best part of the track for it compared to the 993, and he is just eating me up through that section, causing me to take lines that I don't want to take. So good job by him forcing me to stay narrow there, which then allows his car to have the opportunity to shine where it is good. As you can see, once again, coming out of that corner with 7/10, he is just eating me up again as it's dropping down all the way into 3/10, down towards 2/10. And this time I'm like, do not miss your braking point. Second driveway, end of the second driveway, drop the brake, just smash that brake pedal, drop that anchor there, rotate the car, be patient, get on the gas as you get on that apex. So I come out of there fairly nicely, and I'm starting to pull a little bit on that 993 coming down this short straight before turn 2. Getting on the brakes here just at the 100 board. Come down to the inside, get back on the gas. You want to be on the gas at that apex. A little late to the gas there, but he gets loose coming out there, and I'm like, maybe a little breathing room. This might be the breathing room I need. As you can see, I'm hanging it out there around 90. Get back on the gas. I want to brake here at the little orange dot on the right-hand side. Get down in the mid-50s, take this corner, get on the gas early, try and carry as much speed as you can down this back section of the straight. He who is on the gas first usually wins. Trying to make that hold true, as again, he starts to reel me back in as that 993 gets into the top gear. So again, brake hard here, get down in the first, use that engine braking, rotate the 997 through there, back on the gas, through the technical section, the slow section of the track. This is where you can make up a lot of time through here. The less time you spend in the slow corners, the faster you are going to be. Gonna brake here just before the shadow. Again, because I'm trying to keep it tight, so you can brake at the shadow or just slightly after. If you take a little wider arc through there, carry more speed down into this section. Gonna try and make a good run out of this corner. You can see I'm full throttle before you even get to the apex, so I carry really good speed there. I'm like, yes, I'm 8/10 on him. I got it now. Finally, I can just take my normal line through the braking zone. But no, sir. He has a great exit, and again is just chewing me up on the straight. I'm shaking my head. I'm like, this doesn't usually happen. Usually if I get a good exit like that, I can pull away from just about anybody. But the Brazilian with the very good exit there, he sticks it down the inside. I engine brake down to first, coming in second. I accelerate on the curb, which causes my rear end to get loose. Unable to get the exit I need out of that corner. Now we are side by side heading down the straight towards T2. So I'm going to squeeze him narrow. I'm going to try and force an arrow here. I'm going to brake at the 100 board, and he brakes just a hair late. He's going too wide. Goes off track there. I'm like, okay, maybe a half-second penalty. I leave him some room so he can come back on. He does so. Little bump there, nothing big. I can feel him nudging on me just a little bit as that 993 wants to drift out, but I'm holding him narrow. Get on the brakes there at the orange board. Going to cut off the apex from him. Get on the gas here. He tries the undercut, but unable to do so because of the line that I forced him into. But that 993 still got a few tricks up its sleeve as we head down towards this straight. He is once again reeling me in with that top end, but I've got the inside line. Going to brake there just before the Dunlop sign. Force him to the outside. He goes deep. Almost loses P2 to P3 there. As we come into the technical section of Fuji, all I got to do is hold on for a few more corners and the straight, and I have got win number 89 in the pocket. Can I do it? Get on the brakes there at the shadow, go a little bit wider there, come back in and get on the gas. I'm off that curbing, so I don't have to worry about spinning that rear end or losing that rear end and that 997 coming through there. Get on the brakes here on that outside line, turning in there as the dirt color changes. Carrying good speed. I actually had a little safety lift there and went wide. I was a little nervous. I was going to lose it through there. Hit the NOS button. Finish. P1. So that's win number 89 right there. Get the victory. Super stoked. Only 2 left. Slapping my legs. I'm ready. I'm ready for the next race. So let's get to it. Let's go for win number 90. So here we go. Starting in P3. 3, 2, 1. Drop the TCS to TCS1 and launch it. Looking around, looking at the radar, trying to see where I can fit into turn 1 here. I'm going to stay wide. No point in going narrow and getting tangled up with P2. So I do stay wide. Get just slightly tapped from the rears. P2 slightly taps P1 from the rear. But overall, a pretty clean turn 1 for the entire front 3 group there. Now these are A+ drivers that are in front of me. Granted, I am sitting in A right now because these daily races have been absolutely brutal on my DR because of SR, not because of my race position finishes, but I had a DR reset early in the Ferrari race, and I'm still recovering from that as my DR is up to around 45,000 now, so just shy of A+. But I do know that P1 and P2 are A+ drivers, so this will be a difficult race to pull a victory out in, so I am reaching deep within the wells of my FIA experience here to just try and stay in the slipstream and wait for that opportunity, wait for that mistake. Again, brake there before the Dunlop sign, drop it down into first gear, get it to rotate, go into the S's nice and hot. Just the ever so slightest tap on Brap's rear bumper there. Trying not to get a penalty would just be absolutely devastating. You cannot recover against these skill of drivers. The penalty is just too much to overcome. So driving very cautiously here, but I want to stay in the slipstream. I want to accelerate out of the corners to catch up to him and not try and catch him going into the corners and possibly hit him. So got wide here, going to try and get a good run on the exit, as I know that P1 is defending P2 right through here. So it gives me the opportunity to get a good run heading down the straight, and I get a nice run. Now as we saw in the previous race, that 993 is a monster on the straight. Now, it is a little bit better when it's got a nice run on you from behind, but when it's got to do all the work against the headwind, the 997 can kind of hold its own, as it's got a little better aerodynamics, I think, than the 993, and that's why they just can't blow you away side by side. So get on the brakes there at the end of driveway number 2, and P1, 2, and 3 will all negotiate the corner nicely there, coming out, heading down the short straight before turn 2, and I think that it was Brapp that has gotten the penalty, but then as we go into this corner, I see it as P1. So P1, the fastest qualifying driver in the race with the 1 second penalty. 1 second is really closer to like 1.8 seconds, almost 2 seconds, because it's on that long Fuji straight. It is an absolutely devastating penalty. So I'm like, okay. All right, just stick with it. That 993 also has a potential to make mistakes, as it is a drifty little sucker, and people tend to, just make mistakes here and there with it. A very fast car, but that's why I drive in the 997 is the consistency. I want that consistency. So here we are going down into the technical section of Fuji, and I'm right there where I need to be in the slipstream within 0.3 of P2, just trying again not to get that penalty like P1 did. Now I'm pretty certain that it was P2 that gave the penalty to P1, but again, that has nothing to do with me. That's between P1 and P2. I wasn't involved in that at all. So I'm gonna let them figure that out as we head towards the final straight. P1 is gonna have to serve his penalty, and it's gonna give me an opportunity to at least take up 1 position into P2. So as we head towards the penalty zone, you got to be careful not to hit the car serving its penalty. So I'm gonna follow the 993, but then the 993 hits his brakes. I'm like, oh crap! So I slipped down between the two of them. Luckily, as the P2 graciously holds back to P1 because he gave him that penalty there. So very sporting there of the P3 driver Brapp, who is now in P4. So as I turn in here, I'm not even looking for it. I get absolutely murdered by the former P1 driver. Get an SR down for it as well. So I was sitting at 91 SR. So let's look at that again from P4's vantage. So the Brazilian gets into the back of Breaker Ohio as he comes in and just utterly destroys me. Now, if we slow this down, you see that the Brazilian makes a move, and then he moves back to block, gets hit well before the braking zone, but brakes, lets go to coast to get next to me. He's trying to get next to me. Yeah, he got next to me. He got next to me right into my door. So at the end of the race, he tries to blame the Brazilian when actually it was his fault for a bad move in the braking zone, as well as not getting on the brakes in time. So not the Brazilian's fault. It was indeed his fault. Ruins my race. I get a P4. So I'm pretty upset about that. And karma has a way of coming back up in GT Sport. As you can see, I am in P2, and Breaker Ohio is now in P1 in the following race. We have dropped SR all the way down to a low A, and I'm licking my chops. I could send him right here. I don't do it. I just go to the inside nicely and just give him a little tap on the door there. Nothing too terrible. I wanted to send him off the racetrack, but I couldn't afford to get my SRDR reset, so I had to hold back there. So now I drop back to P4 as we head towards the long right-hand sweeper. So does that pay off for Greddy? Does my ability to hold back and not kill people who have done me wrong pay off? Get in the braking zone here. P4 comes down on the inside of me. I avoid hitting P2 from behind. He picks up a 1 second penalty. Not sure what for. He must have hit P1 from behind or something. Not positive. So now he has to serve another 1 second penalty. Looks familiar. So again, I take the narrow line there to make P4 go around the outside, get it down into first gear, come through the technical section. Gonna try and set up a good exit. He gets another penalty. Breaker Ohio gets another penalty. So he keeps tapping P1 from behind there as that is exactly what I was attempting to avoid to do. Because see, those 1 second penalties are just brutal. You can't recover from them unless you just ignore the braking zone, make bad moves on people, and launch into their door. Then you can probably recover. But that's not. As more contact is made, Breaker Ohio. I don't know. He just doesn't seem to be able to race clean from behind. Maybe he's upset. So I drive through him there. I take the chance. Drive through so I can stay in the slipstream of MJW. So behind MJW, heading towards turn number 1, I look to the inside so that I can see my braking point, not so that I can send it on. So again, I brake there at the end of the driveway like I always do. MJW brakes nicely there. I'll let him go ahead and slip it back down to the inside. I'm not gonna send it on him. I'm gonna try and put some distance between us, P3 and P4, before I get too racy here. So head into the next braking zone, brake at the 100 board. Just want to ease it in behind him there and get back on the gas early enough to stay in that slipstream. Come out a little bit wide here so I can let it coast down into the corner, keeping the car flat and level, keeping it fast. As he is also in the 997, so I really don't have that advantage of the stability that I do against the 993, against MJW here. He takes the corner a little bit wide there. I don't know if he was worried about me dive bombing the inside line or not, but he broke just a hair late. So heading into the technical section, trying to think of what I want to do here. I'm going to stay on this just slightly to the inside. It always seems to worry the guy who's in front of you that you're going to send it and they brake late, as he did there. So I give him plenty of room as we come into the S's. He just touches my rear bumper, gets a little bit loose. That's okay. That's exactly what I needed. Him braking late and me taking advantage of it. So now he drops a full second back. So all I really need to do is hold on right here through the next set of corners, get a really good exit out of this last corner, put enough gap on it to where he's not in my slipstream, and I will have this race, as neither of those drivers behind me are going to make up a full second per lap on me in this race. So I come out the corner there. He took a narrow fast line, and so it's going to be a slow exit speed. So as you can see there, I'm building up a lead on him, coming down the straight over 1.2 seconds. And that would be enough to keep them in my rear view mirror as we go through the laps here. You can see I just keep building on that lead. We come out here on the final straight. I'm up by almost 3 seconds. Karma is patting me on the back. I will take win number 90. Now the nerves set in. Can we get that last win for the Schumacher Trophy? Here we go. Let's see. Again, we're at Fuji in the Porsche 997. We take pole in this race. Only 4/10 in front of P2. 8/10 in front of P3 as far as qualifying times go. So a little bit nervous. These are fast guys. Now these fast guys can often run faster laps than what their qualified times show. So again, traction control 1, launch it, drop it down to 0, get in a second, switch the radar, get over to the right and look to the right for the billboard, the sign. Get on the brakes then, check the radar, coast it into there, get on the gas, come out, maintain P1. First part of what I needed to do, I accomplished. I got through turn 1 in P1 for that 91st win. I gotta complete this second lap, gotta put a gap between me and P2, hoping that P3 put some pressure on P2 to maybe make some mistakes. Again, softly enter through this corner, just letting off the gas, letting the car roll through here, get back on it there at the second part of the apex, drop the hammer, drop the anchor at the orange marker, get back on the gas there at the apex. A little late getting back on the gas, but I do have a lead, so there's no need to get on it too early, maybe spin the car out. We've got 9/10 as we head in towards the very technical section of the track, and the gentleman behind me, MJW, is game. So I look in the rearview mirror as he comes towards me, heading down into the tight right-hander. He does a nice job. P3 goes wide there. Now MJW was pretty quick. He was able to hang with me the last couple races he was in there with me. So I've got to put a 1 second gap on him heading down the straight to ensure that he cannot get that slipstream and pull me back in and possibly force me into an error. Don't want to let that happen. So I got to get an exit here, get to the outside, get on the brakes. Gonna turn it back in right there where the dirt turns kind of a darker color, or the grass or whatever it is. Get on the gas nicely. I have a very good exit and I am pulling the gap wider. 1.3 heading towards 1.4 seconds as we head down the straight, I have got the gap that I need in order to take the lines that I want to win this race. So we will transition forward to lap 4, the final lap for the 91st win. 3-second lead. Heading towards the back half, the second half of the race. I'm going to take it live.
Come on, baby. No mistakes. Gas it. Tight line. Snap brake late here. Down to first, down to first. Rotate. There you go, there you go. Come on. Get in there, Gritty. Last corner for 91 wins. Get on the gas early. Straighten her out. Let it roll, baby. Down the last straight for the trophy. 91 W's. Yes! Yes! Woo! Yes! Ah!
And there you have it. 91 wins. I tell you what, it feels good. It's a great accomplishment, and thanks for joining me on this journey. I don't know what the next journey is. I hope that you join me. I appreciate all my subscribers, everyone that tunes in and watches the videos, all the likes, all the words of encouragement. I really do appreciate it. Hopefully this inspires you to accomplish something, and if so, go out there, get it done, make it a goal, and do it. So for myself, Geauxgreddy, y'all have a great evening. Clean, take us out of here.